Sarcastic, definitely.
Family-oriented.
Determined.
A sounding board.
Generous. Charismatic.
Reliable. And loving.
We worked together on a presidential campaign back in 1988 up in New Hampshire, and he was in charge of everybody there. So I went to work for him, and he was terrific.
Liz had recently left the White House. She was working for then Vice President Bush, and left his press office and joined the DuPont campaign. And Liz and I met and immediately connected.
Everybody who had worked for him in politics in the past had told me he was really one of the best in the business. So I went up and interviewed with him, and he hired me to go work in the New Hampshire office, which was a great experience.
As a single dad, he's done a phenomenal job of being such a present force in my life and spending an amazing amount of time with me, especially with the distance being across the country.
You know, it means an awful lot more when you have a daughter and you've been a single dad than it does in many respects of the sort of generic term of father. But to me it means someone who's not just a provider, but as a sort of guiding light for a child who means the world to me.
Fred is an incredibly committed family man. He is, if you know Fred, you know that he adored both of his parents. He's got two wonderful sisters, and he's a tremendous father and friend, and he treats everybody whom he's close to as family.
You know, he's my uncle, but he's kind of taken me, I feel like, under his wing and taught me a lot about the kind of person I want to be, whether it be in work or with my family. And I've learned a lot from him over the past, 30 years of my life. He's been a great role model.
Growing up, Uncle Fred was always the person that I went to when I needed advice about school or business. And he really always instilled in me just to know your value, and to really make sure that you stood for that and that you made sure that you didn't get anything less.
I've always been a bi-coastal dad. And my daughter's always lived on the East Coast, and I've had a place here in San Diego and a place on the East Coast, and traveled back and forth for 18 years, 2 and 3 times a month. So I always maintained a home and a place with her, so that it never seemed as though I lived anywhere else but with her, but maintained kind of a dual life here in San Diego.
One of the most important things that my father values is generosity and compassion. I've always done community service with him. When I visit San Diego, we work in soup kitchens together. Father Joe Carroll, who works out in San Diego, and my dad do a lot together. So I've worked serving food for the homeless and things like that. We took a trip down to Ensenada, Mexico together to build a house. So giving back is definitely one of the most important things.
I think the greatest compliment that anyone ever paid to me was when my daughter was in 6th or 7th grade, and her teacher said to me at a parent night, she said, "My God," she said, "I had absolutely no idea that your daughter came from a broken home, that her parents were divorced. She would have been one of the last kids in my class that I ever would have guessed that." And to know that your daughter was just like everyone else, that even though the family she grew up in may have been different than others, had no impact, and we did our best to give her as normal life as possible, I think it's probably been the greatest compliment ever paid.
Fred is the most deserving recipient of this award that you could possibly find. His entire life has been about giving back. And he was certainly raised in a household that was committed to community and public service, but not just as a part of their lives, but really as who they are as people.
On a personal level, a connection to diabetes is that I'm a diabetic. So I've been a diabetic since I'm 16, since I was 16. I'm 31. So it's been half my life that I've had this disease. He's been a big supporter. Fred has been a big supporter of me in my journey through this, part of my life, dealing with diabetes. He's always sending me information on the newest gadget or the newest thing that's coming out. He loves gadgets. And he's always sending me stuff. This is coming out. You can get a new pump, and you can get something that sticks into you, and it doesn't hurt, and this and that. So I'm consistently getting updates from Uncle Fred.
For me, to be recognized not just as Father of the Year, but also by this incredible organization, becoming close to now a 30-year-old nephew who lived with me for a while and was diagnosed as a juvenile diabetic in his teens, has special meaning to me because I've lived firsthand and have experienced what it's like to go through the trials and tribulations of day-to-day living with diabetes. And so I've experienced the middle of the night need for a sugar surge and the middle of the night experiences where he felt faint, and dealing with all those kind of things and how you deal with it as an uncle was an incredible learning experience and gave me a whole new sensitivity about how difficult the disease diabetes really is.
My dad does a terrific job of balancing family and community and work, and I'm so proud of the way that he balances that, and I know how difficult it can be, but he's never faltered ever. He's been there for me at the drop of the hat, no matter how much he has going on.
Uncle Fred, congratulations. We are so proud of you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations on this award, Fred. I can't think of anyone who's more deserving of this than you are.
I just wanted to tell you how proud I am of you that you won this award. I can't think of anyone else who deserves it more than you. I appreciate everything that you do for me, even though I don't say it all the time. It means the world to me, and I love you. I'm so proud to present this award to my father, Fred Maas. I can't think of a person who deserves this more than you do. Congratulations, Dad. I love you so much.
You know, as you heard earlier in one of the videos, tonight is a especially meaningful moment for me because after experiencing a loss earlier this year, to have an opportunity for friends and family to get together for a joyous occasion is particularly special. I want to thank my sisters and brother-in-law and niece and nephew, cousins and dear friends who traveled from all over the country. Thank you so much. I love you all. To my daughter, Casey, who's just here. You're the greatest blessing a father could have, the light of my life, and every day that I watch you mature into a young woman, you give me more joy than a lifetime of other experiences. And to my friends and colleagues who so generously contributed, thank you all very much. Frankly, I'd say I owe you one, but I'm sure you'll all collect. So, to my fellow honorees, congratulations. By the way, you guys, I don't know if you had the same experience, but did you notice how many people said they were traveling today? I think if it's true, we definitely need a bigger airport. To the American Diabetes Association, thank you and bless you for the work you do. You know, for those who have been touched by this horrible disease, we take it for granted. You know, the victims carry around these little purses, and Wilford Brimley's on TV, and Halle Berry talks about it, and we see the survivors. But as some of the stories you've heard before, and people like my friends Rick and Karen Davis are out in the audience that have a little 3-year-old, and how do you tell that little child that they're going to have to endure a lifetime of needles and injections every day? And how do you tell my nephew Michael, who you heard from, diagnosed type 1 at 16, that you may not be able to play sports the way you did, and you better watch your alcohol. And by the way, if you're awakened in the middle of the night and you're sweating and disoriented, you better get up and eat a Snickers bar or something, because maybe, just maybe, you'll die. Now, we just spent $1 trillion bailing out half the banks in America. But truthfully, I'd watch 1,000 Wall Street bankers starve if we could save one child from a lifetime of diabetes management. Last but certainly not least, I'd like to thank the Father's Day Council. You know, as many of you now have probably surmised, I'm a single dad, and I believe the first one recognized by this incredible offer. Actually, I learned tonight that's not true. Father Joe was actually the first one who was recognized. I'm not sure we're in the same category. But Casey and I have some significant company. You know, I don't think many people appreciate that 24 million children in America live absent their fathers. And 2 million fathers had single-parent households. Well, kudos to the Father's Day Council, Whitney, and others for acknowledging that we're not all deadbeat dads. Along with colleagues like the American Coalition for Fathers and Children, you're slaying the dragons and myths of single fatherhood. I'm eternally grateful. Thank you all so much. Appreciate it.